And the only reason I didn't is it wasn't integrated with my software, and I like having one hub for everything. So, but they've made a deal and partnered with Appfolio and to be able to integrate, and we signed on like a week later. So this is where what all they do. So they integrate in, their communication is top notch. This is the stat that got me. Admittedly, the way we had been doing maintenance had cost us tenants. It was difficult to follow up, and the communication and scheduling, making it work. Oh, we got Anna.
Hey, perfect. Derek, how's it going?
Hey, doing okay.
Hey, sorry, looks like you guys are running ahead of schedule.
We got a couple minutes, so I'll let you. Awesome. You're going to do a much better job, but I was emphasizing this and owning the fact that we have lost tenants because of this, and we haven't had anywhere near as many issues. So I was giving you all the kudos in the world.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm sorry I'm just coming in here right at the cusp, but it's awesome that you guys are running ahead of schedule. I feel like that hardly happens when you're running a conference or a set of meetings. So good job.
So all right, here's Anna. I'll let her take over.
Hey everybody, it's nice to meet you. As an owner with NetGain, I think this is where I really tried to pull some statistics together. And yeah, I guess if you wouldn't mind, Derek, I can share my screen if you'd like. There we go. So for everybody on the call, preventative maintenance on your properties is what's going to help you, you know, eliminate spending too much on maintenance in the future, right? Property Meld wants to offer that to our customers, owners, right? So we work directly with our customers to try to keep residents happy around maintenance. And every time I jump on a call with a new customer, I'm like, wouldn't it be amazing if you could just, you know, if you could push more 5-star reviews to Google, right? And they're like, we would love that. We want that, you know, all the time. I'm trying to figure out, let's share my screen here. So here we go. So really, we want to really empower our residents to feel positive around maintenance. And our maintenance teams are always like, we're going to beat down. There's so many issues, so many problems, and they're not getting fixed fast enough. That's where Property Meld comes in and says, okay, resident, and okay to our customers, we're going to get you an easy way to communicate to everybody with one centralized platform. This is the slide that Derek was showing. So why retention is hinged on maintenance. So it's a pretty interesting fact, Derek, if you wanted to jump into like that residents do leave because they do have poor maintenance experiences. If we can improve those experiences and get 5-star reviews, get better communication, and get the scheduling organized, which this team is doing. I was reviewing their account earlier this morning, but 31% of residents say that maintenance was a factor in not renewing a lease. So that's just data that we have. That's not data that we're seeing outside of you know, that's just data we have access to and pulling inside the industry. So right behind rent prices, right? Maintenance is the #1 reason a resident leaves a property. So upkeeping the property is super important to this resident. They want to feel proud about where they live. Y'all know that. Why NetGain has chosen to use Property Meld is because of the live updates on all maintenance items, whether they're working on preventative repairs, turnovers, or renter submitted items. Top tier communication. There's not another tool out there that will allow you to communicate to everybody that lives in that property, which is amazing, right? So one person submits a meld, everybody in that property is aware of what is happening around that service issue, right? So it allows you to engage anytime you need. They can text, they can email, they can chat inside the app, and this really helps any friction around what is happening, what's going on, because we have automations that allow for updates to the vendors and the resident. So again, giving you insight into how we're caring for your assets. Sleek interface that is enjoyable to use, hopefully for the team, and is key to managing maintenance at the lowest possible cost. All that Property Meld does in maintenance. We live and breathe maintenance, and that's what we want to make better for our team, for our customers. All right. So as a property owner, trying to change the maintenance process or maintenance experience by working with this team. So no more hunting for information about repairs. We do have the capability to give you access to more oversight about what's happening on your property, view communications, get easy access to approvals and updates in a single place. So you want to see pictures, you want to see files, those things can easily be shared with you by this management team. No more questions. The complete transparency we provide keeps you in the know and out of the dark. So I work with different companies where they're investors, everybody on this call. Some of them are like, you know what, take care of it for me. I trust you. Other ones would like to see exactly what is happening. And we at Property Meld, and I'm going to show you here in a little bit, what the Property Meld Owner Hub can really give you insight into if that's something that you're looking for. So Derek, not having your account right in front of me, are you giving access to the Owner Hub to some of the investors on the call today?
Yeah, we've given them all of them access. Awesome. And we've told them in my little bit that if they haven't received that, to reach out and we'll resend them.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Have access.
In there, it's great because you can control different notifications that you have. You have access to an owner-only help center inside Property Meld so that you do get the clarity that you need. And hopefully it's easy enough just for you to say, okay, I would like to look at the chats that are coming in so I don't have to search through my emails. I don't have to call up to the office. I can see everything right there. So that state of the art of communication ties into your email and text messaging for rapid responses that you can see later. Again, Property Meld prides itself on the historical data, always being able to go back and say, this is what happened, this is who communicated what, this is the picture, right? So if anything needs to be addressed, you have that historical data that's in there and you don't have to guess anymore. So in the Property Meld Owner Hub, sounds like some of you have experience in this, but right on your dashboard, you get to see the approval requests, any messages that have come in, and the approvals that you need to look at. So up-to-date information on each service request without having to make a phone call, and easily approve requests for cost-related items that include pictures and a plan of action. So as you know, hopefully this is a step up from what you've experienced before around maintenance, where you're like, what's happening? I need pictures. And then you know what you are responsible for, right? Because the speed of repair is what's going to raise that resident satisfaction. And if it takes too long to get the approval from you to be able to move through that, it's going to drive up that speed of repair. And we want to keep the residents happy so they're continuing to live in your homes and also be held accountable for what they're responsible for as well, which is something that this team has an easier way of communicating now. Now, Property Care Plus is a newer functionality for why preventative maintenance matters. So preventative maintenance can mean different things to different people, right? It could be just basic lawn care, pressure washing, really. But when we're getting into like the inspections, HVAC inspections, maybe just an overall home inspection, this allows you to easily opt into services to upkeep your property so you don't run into incurring larger expenses down the road because you didn't know that. I didn't know that my HVAC was in that bad of condition and it may need replacement in a year. But if you have those inspections, maybe we could have some preventative work to elongate the life of that equipment and just kind of keep you in mind, give you peace of mind that you don't have to worry about maybe something big breaking right in the middle of winter, in the middle of summer. Know that preventative work is being done on your property without you having to coordinate. Let the NetGain team do that for you, right? That's why you trust them with your property, but they can potentially offer you services for you to opt in. So Derek, if you want to, if you started this already, if there's something you want to move into down the road, this is a very new feature for Property Meld that a few of our customers are starting to take advantage of. And by using this service catalog, you can see what offerings will change seasonally to ensure the right things are getting done. So the team has access to say, this is what's important in the winter, this is what's important in the spring and summer. Okay. And yeah, really just don't let maintenance be a missed opportunity, right? We know that with the statistics we showed earlier, that it's super important that our resident satisfaction and speed of repair are metrics that this team has access to track daily. So knowing that they are performing very high, their resident sat just in maintenance alone is, I believe, at a 4.5, right? So if you look at a Google review website and you look at, and for any property management companies, I work with hundreds of them, and you go through all those Google reviews, there's very few about positive maintenance experiences. My goal for our customers is to make sure we take the positive maintenance experiences we're capturing in Meld and push them out to the public so you can see what this team can do for you around maintenance. Anything else, Derek, I can share with the team?
Does anyone have any questions on that? And then I can kind of, between Anna and I.
Anna, this is Camille Dickerson.
Hi, Camille.
Hey, what will you just help me on a definition? What defines between a positive and a negative maintenance experience? What do you mean by that? Is it the equipment that we have in the properties? Is it the customers and anticipation that things should be working when they're not? Is it the maintenance company that we're calling to take care of it? Just help me out to understand that.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Camille. And actually, I do have a couple of my clients that ask me that same question too, right? Because typically maintenance has been a pretty big struggle for them. So when a meld is complete inside Property Meld, and in Meld, we call them melds and not work orders. When a meld is complete, the resident gets an opportunity to then rate their experience on that. Typically, when we go through, we see something happen with the company, the vendor that we hired for that. Maybe they were late or they were rude or something happened there, which caused the resident to say, well, that wasn't a great experience. Positive experiences are going to be those quick. They were, the communication was there, right? Everything I thought was going to happen actually happened. And that's really when we see those 4- and 5-star reviews come in. And then sometimes, Camille, you're going to get a negative review because the resident wants a new top of the line fridge and it's not something that is being put in, right? And they're like, well, I didn't get the fridge I want, so I'm rating this a 2. But that's, those are very few and far between, but you can see how the resident just has the capability because now they actually have insight into what the maintenance process is, so they can move forward with rating it appropriately. Does that help, Camille?
That's perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that rating system on our end has been huge, because like for me, like if we're above 4, like I'm good, right? Because very few people are ever going to be like, you got a 5, right? So if we're getting a 5, we're like, sweet. If we're 4 above, we're good. If we're at a 3, then it lets us ask further questions, and we'll follow up with like, hey, like, was there something? And sometimes someone's just like, it went fine. I just, like, I didn't want to fill it, so I just did a 3. Other times it's like, like the handyman, I got the job done, but I just didn't like, it just wasn't my cup of tea for whatever reason, right? Because sometimes handyman aren't always looking the most professional, let's be honest, right? So ironically, amazingly enough, our highest rated vendor is actually our plumber. He hasn't ever gotten anything less than a 5. So it's those sorts of things. Sometimes like we have tenants that are finicky, and so they've given us 1s because the handyman went out because we try to send the cheap one first. Hey, can you fix this? And so he'll say, hey, it's completed on his end. But, in the meantime, we're creating another mail to send out, the HVAC or the plumber. And the guy's like, this was not finished, like it's not completed. And so you get a 1, right? And so, but so much of it on those come down to how quickly was it being done? And then, their experience with the person there. Mm-hmm. And so with Property Meld, like it's, stuff getting done and being able to track it. Like I said, like she said, we're a 4.5.
Actually 4.6, corrected myself. Yeah, so the last 30 days you're at a 4.6. All time since you started with Meld is a 4.4. So you're tracking higher and pretty much like, you know, you're proven to be successful there, Derek. And also because your speed of repair is around 6.6 days for all Melds in the last 30 days. And then your median speed of repair takes out those longer projects is a 2.9 days. Like that's what's driving up that resident satisfaction. And hopefully, Derek, what your team sees is it's the communication inside of Meld that can really drive that success.
Well, and realistically, before then, I would have rated us at a 3. I was having a 1-star review or like experience, but being able to do it, it was difficult sometimes getting our vendors to buy in and to make the switch, but as they've made that switch, it's made everyone's life easier. And then with that, what'll be cool is, so as they're having these better experiences, we're starting to see some Google reviews come in because we send the automated follow-up so that we're becoming more attractive. Like I think our Google review right now, we're a 4.3 or 4.4. So we're one of the highest rated ones. So people now, it makes us want to be more rented to. And especially if you're getting comments on, hey, your maintenance is being taken care of, like tenants want to rent from us, right? So it's been life-changing. The other thing I want to go into a little bit is that Property Care Plus. And that Property Care Plus, where it's just new. Some of you guys, like I didn't realize we were trying to get it all set up. I'm like, sweet, we're going to do this big launch here to explain it. But when we got it all set up, all of you guys got emails. So we explained some of it. But what that'll do is some of the, with as many units as we have, and as long as we're doing it in 10 interactions, everything we've put in there will help us long-term, right? Some of it, admittedly, like we look and, some of you guys could sign up to have the filters changed quarterly. And admittedly, in our leases, that is 100% on the tenant. But we also know tenants aren't always the best. Even me as a property owner, like I see it and I'm like, oh crap, I haven't changed my, my filter. So, so that allows you guys as an owner to be able to kind of take that on and say, no, I want to be able to do this. And then that HVAC inspection. And so like I was unsure, and I remember talking to Anna and then Kelsey as we were signing on. I'm like, I don't know if there'd be much interest on this aspect of it. But we got a huge response from that. And so there's stuff on lawn care to get fertilized, to have it fertilized and have it aerated. There's rain gutter clean out we've had a lot of issues lately because rain gutters haven't been cleaned for years. And now we're having leaking into the, into the unit. So some of these things are preventative that we've seen that allows you as the owner to be, because the thing I love about all my owners is none of you guys want to be slumlords. And so this gives you guys the opportunity to be like, no, I want to see this done. I want to see this done. And we can track it and put it into the system. And then show the tenants that we actually kind of genuinely care about them. So it's been pretty sweet in that regard.
That's good. Yeah, and again, this is a brand new feature to our platform. So we are working on development throughout the year, continued to see that makes it easier on Derek's side, and hopefully make it more simple to see where you've opted in, what properties you want to opt in for. So there's definitely some other developments we want to make because we know how important preventative maintenance is and is going to be, and ultimately helping our property management teams have an even more efficient way of completing melds.
Any other questions there? We've gone over a lot. Anna knows all. She's the Property Meld god, as I've learned.
I don't know if I go that far, but
I do have a question if you guys are available, if you're ready.
Yeah, hey, John.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us today. I appreciate what you do. So my question is, and what I've heard through this segment is that addressing tenant concerns as quickly as possible is extremely important to tenant retention and the continued income stream for all of us. Now, that being said, I know that in my experience, getting a handyman to show up on time, or these vendors that the plumber who's getting the 5-star, getting them to be consistent in their response based on the amount of units that NetGame has. Are you getting any kind of priority treatment by them and any kind of price point break? Does that make sense?
So yes, I'm large enough. None of my vendors want to piss me off, if that's what you're getting at. So our consistent vendors, like they don't, yeah, they want to keep the business. We spend, last count, on average about 20 grand in maintenance a month. And so for some of those, like we're most of our people's largest clients. And that does give us some leverage. So that's, it's been huge. Now, things that we don't have to deal with a lot. So like roofers sometimes are a little slower to respond, or if our current handyman are overwhelmed and we try to find someone new, yes, we struggle with that aspect. But the ones that we use on a day-to-day basis, they are, I mean, they're on top of it. And as you can see with, I mean, being under the 3 days to get stuff done, it's made a huge difference. But on some of the stuff, admittedly, that you don't have to deal with as often, that you don't have the relationships. If we have to break someone new, sometimes that can be a little bit more difficult. But on the day-to-day stuff with what we use, like we haven't had the same hurdles.
So I guess the second part of my question is, like, for example, a painter. Is there a way of knowing that this painter who is, you know, providing a service to you guys all the time is not looking at you as a cash cow and gouging you, charging you a little bit more?
We just fired a painter because of that, if that makes you feel any better. So his bid came back way high. We had to get him in. I beat him down on the price, and then by the time we were done, so I found a new painter. So we have a good idea of what the basic pricing is of stuff. And so we know if it comes in high. And then the final thing is, like, realistically on something like painting and those larger stuff, you guys are part of that process because you guys have to get final approval, right? Okay, if we're repainting a house and the bid comes back too high, like, and we've had a couple of owners that are like, no, that's too high. Can we try someone else? And, you know, we do it, right? So that's how you're kind of protected. So if you're wanting 2 to 3 vendors, you know, on that to get a bid, we can do that. That's pretty easy to do. Sometimes I'll be like, we've tried 5 other painters. He was the only, you know, the only one that showed up here. We may just have to bite the bullet. I agree, it seems high, but we've got to get this done. So sometimes we do have to have that conversation. But most of the time we're able to get, you know, decent pricing on stuff to be able to maintain and keep it going. That answer the question, John?
Yeah, for the most part it does. You know, I just worry that because we are improving, and I'm putting myself as part of the team, because we are improving what we offer through NetGain, that we can open ourselves to some kind of risk of being reliable and being, you know, for lack of a better term, being a cash cow.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. But this is where Charity, she's mean and ornery. She doesn't look like it, but she can be mean and ornery with the vendors. And then if that doesn't work, I can be mean and ornery and find different vendors. So I'm okay if people are making money, you know, and if they do a good job, like, we want to keep them busy, but there also has to be some reasonable. And I know we've had conversation with some owners that, hey, I didn't think that was reasonable. And we talk and we I figure out on my end how to make that right with you guys. So
I absolutely agree with you. I think that we should be supporting our community and providing all these services. And I don't want to cheat my neighbors, but at the same time, these costs will be coming out of our pockets. So I just want to make sure that there is that protection if we need it.
well, and know that most of these vendors, what's really nice is they'll get in there, and tenants are a lot more honest with the handyman a lot of times than they are with us. And so like our maintenance people, we know, like if they go in and they're like, dude, like this, like say this HVAC system, these guys have not changed their filters and this is what caused that. We know 100% we can charge that back to the tenant. Here's what it was. You failed to do this. Here's the picture evidence, and that goes back on them. And that's why I do like these vendors. And so it takes a little bit while to get them trained, and here's how we do things to make sure that you're protected. So these vendors have saved thousands for a lot of you owners on different things, you know, each month. I'm going, hey, like, you know, we had one the other day. For whatever reason, we're on a run of garbage disposals, but it's 'tis the season apparently. And the tenant like had flat out said, well, I think, you know, I think this is what happened. And so they brought it back to us, and the tenant was mad that the handyman broke his confidence, but we're like, handyman works for us, dude. We're paying for it. Like you weren't very smart on that. And so, you know, they brought it back to us, and, you know, we were able to explain, here's what it is. You broke it. And, you know, sure enough, here, you know, as they pulled it and looked at it, the blade had been broken because they dropped some stuff in there on accident and didn't realize it and ran it and started smoking. And so that's how that worked. So any other questions?
Derek, it's Camille again. I have one more question for you. Your comment based on the $20,000 per month that we're seeing in maintenance, that's a huge number at end of cost. And I'm just wondering, is there anything that we're not seeing as homeowners that we should be doing to help to eliminate that cost at the end of the day? Is it something that's just a common maintenance that we need to be doing, or is it something that we're missing entirely? What are you seeing as far as the maintenance goes that is equaling that $20,000?
Charity all of a sudden chimed in. So she's like servicing the HVACs. So that's one of those things, because you'll always see an uptick in the spring and fall with the first hot flash, that's completely different. Hot spell, and then cold spell each year, you see a huge uptick. There's a lot of preventative maintenance, like that's good. A lot of it just stuff happens. You know, it just really is. If you have an older house, sometimes the plumbing goes bad. You know, we've had to replace 3 sewer lines that were old in the past year. And while there's some preventative maintenance stuff that you can do that happens on some of those, like sometimes it's just time, right? And so that's, yeah, the preventative, you know, the HVAC and everything, but there's just sometimes a lot. I mean, 500 unit or 550 units, like that's, you know, as I talk to other management companies, that's not an uncommon number. I know it seems large, but that's just, you have a lot of properties, stuff breaks down, you know, and we have in Utah or in Iron County, we have a lot of older homes too, that that's just part of the deal with them. That answer your question, Camille?
Yeah, so for the HVAC system, is that something that we need to contact you early in the spring to get on a schedule for our units? Or is that something that we do personally on a basis and then how do you want us to do that?
So we'll make sure you're on Property Meld, and it's something that you can do.
Okay.
On that Property Care Plus. It's one of the options.
Excellent. Okay.
And then we'll get it in there and we'll schedule it with the vendors. I think we have like 10 or 15 now that we're going to start filtering through. No, like people from Property Care Plus that have requested that HVAC service.
Okay.
And then the filters. And so we're just working on implementing that.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate it.
So no problem.
Eric, I have a quick question for you.
Okay.
When a tenant calls in with a complaint about the garbage disposal, and the scenario you just said that the plumber went over or saw that one of the blades was broken because they accidentally dropped, I don't know, a knife or marbles or something in it. What is your company's protocol to say when they call to put in a request? Do you say, how did this break? Like, because sometimes, speaking as a owner, I struggle when I hear a garbage disposal breaks, for instance. And if I throw out, hey, well, how did it break? And I don't know that answer, it's difficult.
Oh yeah. And so this is where Property Meld helps a lot. So one, it's automated a huge amount of the task. So like if someone submits a garbage disposal, it literally sends them like a 5-step process that we've got just automated. And then it also gives them a YouTube video tutorial on how to kind of walk through and try to fix it themselves if there's issues. And then after all of that is done, then they can follow like, hey, I tried all this, it didn't work. And then Charity's like, hey, yeah, here's what's going on. And then through that owner hub and stuff, we're able to communicate with you. We'll still probably send them out because, like I said, in this one instance, the tenant wasn't honest, until the handyman got out there. But the handyman would be like, dude, he would have told us, hey, this broke. And so like blade broke, we know it's on the tenant because blades, like, of all the things that can happen, I've never seen just a blade on a garbage disposal just break, right? And so that's where being able to communicate with Charity, and this is where Property Meld, because I know Cody, like we've had these conversations, because like I said, I've been given one star service on maintenance and giving everyone 1-2 between the owners and the tenants. And this is where I love Property Meld. So that communication's able to get better because you'll get the notice, hey, this has been done. And you can immediately message and start, or not like it's not been done, but we have this maintenance that came in and we can immediately start. The troubleshooting's been done. Once we know they haven't done the, all the troubleshooting part of it's been done, or at least they said it's done, then we can send the handyman out, but at least they've done that initial. And that has cut down, like I said, we're on a run of garbage disposals, but 75% of our garbage disposal issues. So now the other 25% we know are legit for one way or the other. And sometimes garbage disposals just go bad and they start leaking for no reason or they're just old. And so it's been about 50-50 that have been tenant caused or just the other 50% that's been just garbage disposal went bad. That answer that?
Yeah. I still, like, at some point, do they have to put maybe in writing in this Property Meld, and I know time's running short now, but do they have to tell us what actually happened? So when you call or send us a text saying, hey, we have a cost of $150 here, what do you want to do? And I say, what happened? I have that actual knowledge of whether or not they're saying the truth. That's out of our control. But at least I know what is being, why they are saying it's broken.
Yes, and that's all part of the conversation. So I'll make sure that we get if you're not set up on the owner hub yet, Cody, that you get an invite. We'll resend the invite to all the owners when this is done. But that's how that should be done. So you can at least have, yes, this is what they say has happened. And so that you have an idea. And we've been able to integrate that, and it's been a much better. Still, sometimes the owners are mad because it's like, I swear there was something, and we're like, we can't prove it, right? Here's where it's leaking, and so we just have to eat that. But it's cut down a whole lot because I know, like with you, Cody, I know our maintenance process has been frustrating. So like this has been huge for us, and that's why I wanted to have Property Meld be part of this. and I'm grateful. This is the first time they've presented to owners. So like, I know Anna's like excited to hear this feedback. They usually hear us and then we say what owners want to hear. So that's been great. We're going to move on now. If you have any other questions, you can message, email me or Charity, and we'll make sure y'all get set up. But we're going to move on to Kate. So Anna, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys for the opportunity. I hope you have a great day.
So, okay. So with that, we're going to move on to Kate. So she is one of my favorite humans in the world. I'm not one of hers, but that's okay. But I'm excited for this part of the conversation because as I talk about being able to bring resources in to help maintain tenants, it's the partnership that we started between Canyon Creek and Care and Share 5.5 years ago that's been able to help me look to bring all these resources in. And it's been awesome. So one, she's an awesome person. Two, it's a great organization. And three, you get to listen to her try to mock me for 20 minutes. So, which is always entertaining. I'm sure many of you guys have wanted that too. So with that introduction, Kate, have at it.